Chosen ones, you got everyone talking and lots of people are watching you right now. It started with a whisper, then a sudden, jarring snap inside you. The world shifted. The ground beneath your feet didn't just move, it disintegrated. You remember the exact moment, don't you? The breath caught in your throat, a sharp, physical impediment that stole air, stole words, stole your very sense of self. It wasn't a thought that hit you first. It was a quake, originating deep in your gut. A cold, sickening lurch that propelled a wave of nausea right up to the back of your throat. Your vision blurred, not from tears, but from the sudden, profound recalibration of reality. This is the somatic shock of betrayal, the body's primal scream when the soul is ambushed. It's the phantom punch to the solar plexus, knocking the wind out of your carefully constructed world. Every cell in your being registers the violation, a deep cellular memory etched into your very DNA. You didn't just hear words or see actions, you absorbed them like poison seeping into the bloodstream. Your muscles tightened, ready to fight or flee. But there was nowhere to run from the internal earthquake. The heart doesn't just ache, it pounds a frantic rhythm against your ribs, a desperate drumbeat of alarm. Your skin crawls, a perverse phantom touch of deceit. Your ears ring with the echo of what was said, what was implied, what was irrevocably broken. The taste in your mouth is metallic, the bitter tang of truth dissolving into ash. You try to swallow, but your throat constricts, a vise of disillusionment. Your hands might clench, your jaw might lock, or perhaps a profound weakness floods your limbs, leaving you hollowed out, untethered. This isn't just emotional pain, it's a full-body assault, a betrayal that infiltrates every nerve ending, every synapse. It rewires your perception of safety, of trust, of the very people you thought you knew. And now you feel it, don't you? That primal awareness that lots of people are watching you right now and you got everyone talking. You feel exposed, raw, perhaps even judged, not by them, but by the echoes of their broken promises. That feeling, it's not just in your head. It's in the sudden flinch when a door slams, in the way your eyes dart to shadows, in the hypervigilance that now guards your peace. Your internal compass has been shattered, its needle spinning wildly in a landscape of shifting loyalties. The world suddenly looks sharper, harsher, stripped of its comforting illusions. The betrayal wasn't just a moment. It became a permanent resident, shifting furniture in the chambers of your heart, rearranging the very architecture of your self-trust. We understand this visceral ache. We recognize the shadow it casts. This isn't weakness. It is the natural, devastating response of a system that has been violated. Your body remembers before your mind can even process the full scope of the treachery. It's an innate, protective mechanism, screaming a warning that the threat was real, that the wound is deep. Don't dismiss these physical sensations as mere anxiety. They are data points, critical signals from your deepest self, screaming about a violation that ripped through the fabric of your perceived safety. This isn't just about disappointment. It's about the systemic collapse of what you believed was solid, unshakable. Before we go deeper, before we start to unpack the pieces of what was shattered, we need to address something critical. YouTube has unfortunately restricted this channel. They've censored our voice, but they can't silence the truth or our mission. We believe in direct communication, unfiltered. For the full, uncensored message, for the vital insights you won't find anywhere else, join us in the sanctuary. The link is directly in the description below. This is important. The somatic shock lingers. It's not just a fleeting sensation, it's an imprint, a cold knot in the stomach that resurfaces when you least expect it, a tightening in the chest that steals your breath when a familiar name is spoken. It's the involuntary jolt, the sudden cold sweat that breaks when a memory flashes. Your body, in its profound wisdom, remembers the precise moment the rug was pulled out from under you. It remembers the taste of ashes, the sight of the mask falling, the gut-wrenching realization that everything you believed was a carefully constructed lie. This isn't a minor bruise, it's a deep bone ache that resonates with the echo of shattered trust. It's a phantom limb pain for the part of you that was severed without warning, without consent. This raw, exposed feeling, it's a testament to the depth of the connection you invested and the brutality with which it was severed. It's a battle scar, visible only to yourself, but felt in every waking moment, in every guarded breath. It's the silent scream of your inner world, reverberating through your physical being. There's a specific kind of desolation that sinks into your bones, colder than any winter, when you realize the landscape you've been navigating, the home you thought you were building, was never truly there. It's the profound, aching grief of the empty chair, not the one vacated by death, not the one left behind in a clean break, but the chair that was always fundamentally hollow. You poured your dreams, your trust, your very essence into an illusion, a beautiful, devastating mirage that shimmered on the horizon, only to vanish the moment you reached for it. This isn't just loss, it's a profound unraveling. You're not mourning a person you once knew, but a version of them, a version of your shared life that was meticulously constructed, perhaps by them, perhaps by your own desperate longing, perhaps a horrifying collaboration of both. The raw pain isn't just for what's gone, but for what never truly existed in the first place. You grieve the future you sketched out, the promises whispered, the unspoken certainty that you were truly seen, truly valued. And then, the crushing realization, the person who sat across from you, shared your meals, your bed, your secrets, was a character in a play, and you were often the only one genuinely believing the script. The grit of this particular grief is in its insidious nature. You're not mourning a body, but a ghost that walks and talks and exists in the physical world, yet the connection you believed in, the foundation you stood on, was nothing but smoke. How do you grieve a relationship that was a sophisticated fabrication? How do you explain to others, or even to yourself, that the person they saw, the partner you presented, was never truly the person you thought you knew? The world perceives a breakup, a separation. But inside, you're grappling with the death of a reality, the death of your own judgment, the death of a history you believed was real. Aftershocks are relentless. Every memory becomes a question mark, every tender moment replayed through a lens of stark, brutal clarity. Was that touch genuine? Was that laughter shared, or was it a performance? The past transforms into a minefield, each step threatening to detonate another memory, another moment of manufactured intimacy, another lie unearthed. You find yourself sifting through the wreckage, not just of a relationship, but of your own perception, your own intuition. That gnawing doubt, that whisper in the quiet hours you'd silenced, suddenly screams its terrible truth. This grief doesn't come with a clear funeral, no comforting rituals, no public acknowledgement of the true nature of your loss. You're often left to navigate this desolate landscape alone, wrestling with the phantom limbs of a connection that never truly anchored. It's a mourning compounded by profound humiliation, a crushing sense of being misled, or worse, of having misled yourself. The deep wound isn't just the absence of a partner, but the brutal amputation of a shared narrative, leaving you adrift in a sea of fractured memories and agonizing self-reflection. The chair sits there, physically empty now, but its true emptiness was always inherent. It was never truly filled by the presence you believed in. And the weight of that truth, the truth of investing so much into so little, is a burden that reshapes your very understanding of love, trust, and even yourself. You are left with the silence where conversations should have been, the void where genuine connection was promised. It's a unique hell, a silent scream for a loss that others might never fully comprehend. The fight now is to reclaim your own narrative from the shards of that broken mirror, to somehow find solid ground in the aftermath of a beautiful lie. You felt that gnawing pressure, haven't you? That whisper in the back of your mind, or perhaps a thunderous shout from well-meaning advisors. Just forgive them, let it go, that's the path to peace. And it sounds so simple, so liberating, doesn't it? The world, often even spiritual communities, pushes this narrative of immediate, unconditional absolution. It paints forgiveness as a universal balm, a quick fix for every wound. But I'm here to tell you that this approach, while sounding noble, can be one of the most dangerous traps you'll ever encounter on your journey of reclamation. We are not talking about a casual slight here. We are talking about betrayals, manipulations, and systemic disrespect that has carved trenches in your soul. To forgive prematurely, without first establishing unshakable boundaries, is not an act of grace. It's an act of self-betrayal. It's an open invitation for the same patterns, the same hurts, to resurface and wound you again, often with even greater potency. Think of it like a surgeon closing a gaping wound without cleaning it first, without removing the infection. The surface might look mended, but the rot festers underneath, guaranteeing a far worse outcome down the line. Your first duty, your sacred obligation, is to protect your own spiritual, emotional, and physical territory. This is where boundaries come in, not as walls built out of bitterness, but as vital fences erected out of self-respect and discernment. They are the clear, unequivocal lines that declare what you will and will not tolerate, what access others have to your energy, your time, your peace. Without these boundaries firmly in place, forgiveness becomes a flimsy shield, a performance, an enabling mechanism rather than a true release. It traps you in a cycle, perpetuating the very pain you're trying to escape. Absolution, in this context, becomes a loophole for the perpetrator, not freedom for you. And let me be direct. The enemy loves it when you operate without boundaries. They thrive on the chaos, the emotional exhaustion, the physical fatigue that comes from constantly being violated, and then attempting to plaster over the damage with a superficial act of forgiveness. You feel drained, your spirit weary, your body heavy. If you've been battling persistent physical fatigue, feeling like your energy is constantly being siphoned away, it's a profound signal from your spirit. This isn't just about sleep or diet. It's often a direct consequence of sustained spiritual warfare against your well-being. For those of you experiencing this relentless exhaustion, I urge you to grab our Spiritual Warfare Handbook. It's packed with strategies to fortify your defenses and reclaim your energy from unseen battles. The link is right there in the description below. True absolution, the kind that genuinely sets you free, is a subsequent empowered choice. It's an act that flows from a place of strength, not desperation. It can only occur once you've secured your perimeter, once you've healed enough to stand firm and declare, no more. It is not about condoning the harm. It is about releasing the burden of carrying that harm, but only after you've ensured that the gatekeeper of your soul is awake, alert, and armed. This isn't about being unforgiving, it's about being discerning. It's about understanding that peace doesn't come from denying the wound, but from expertly tending to it, setting its limits, and then, only then, consciously choosing to release the weight of the past from your future, not theirs. It's a profound act of self-love, a declaration that your sacred space will no longer be compromised. You are worthy of that protection, and that protection must precede any genuine, lasting peace. We've all been there, perched precariously, convinced that the structures around us, the people we've allowed to influence our very being, were essential. You mistook them for foundations, didn't you? You believed their presence, their input, their validation was what held you up, what allowed you to build. But listen closely, chosen one, because this is a brutal truth. Many of those weren't foundations at all. They were scaffolding. Think about it, scaffolding. A temporary framework erected around a building under construction or repair. It gives workers access, allows them to reach heights they couldn't otherwise. It looks imposing, sometimes even solid, draped over the real structure beneath. It can even feel protective for a time, shielding you from certain elements, giving an illusion of containment. But it's never meant to be the building. It's hollow, exposed to the wind, fundamentally unstable as a permanent home. It's designed to be taken down, to be dismantled once the true edifice is complete, or once the necessary repairs are made. These people, these relationships, these suffocating dynamics that you thought were holding you together, they were the scaffolding. Perhaps they served a purpose in a specific season. Maybe they provided a temporary leg up when you were too weak to stand alone, or offered a distorted perspective that you mistook for guidance. They gave you a vantage point, however warped, an illusion of being held, a sense of belonging, even if it was just to their own chaotic world. You clung to their metal bars, believing they were the bedrock of your existence, pouring your precious energy into maintaining a framework that was never meant to sustain you long-term. The gut-wrenching realization, the moment of clarity that cuts deep, is when you recognize you've been living in the scaffolding. Not just around it, not just using it, but in it. You've invested your soul, your dreams, your very future into an unstable, temporary structure, believing it was your forever home, your unshakable foundation. You allowed its creaks and groans, its rust and exposed edges, to define your comfort zone, to dictate your potential. You've been building the magnificent architecture of your life, not on solid ground, but on shifting, external, impermanent poles. It takes raw, visceral courage to admit that the very framework you've leaned on, the one that has become familiar, must come down. It feels like demolition, like stripping away essential parts of your world, exposing you to the elements. The fear is real, gut deep. What happens when the planks are gone? Will you fall? Will your unfinished structure crumble without their false support? This is where the grit ignites, where your inherent strength is truly tested. Because your true building, your authentic self, the monument you are destined to be, cannot truly stand while encased in someone else's temporary structure. It cannot reveal its strength, its beauty, its integrity, while perpetually shrouded. This is the moment of deconstruction, not of you, chosen one, but of the temporary supports that were never meant to be permanent. Piece by piece, bolt by bolt. It's not about destroying what you are, but about removing what hinders your becoming. It's about clearing the way for what is truly strong, what is inherent and unshakable within you. When the last piece of scaffolding is removed, it doesn't leave a void. It leaves an unobstructed view of the real edifice, your magnificent, unshakable self, built on your own core values, your own truth, your own divinely given foundations. You are not a temporary structure, chosen one. You are the monument, and monuments don't lean on external, fragile supports forever. They stand tall, independently, enduringly. So many eyes, so many voices. They're watching you and they're definitely talking. The whispers can feel like a roar, the accusations like physical blows. Your gut instinct screams for immediate defense, to lash out, to silence the noise with force. This isn't new. It's an ancient battle waged in the public square and in the depths of the human spirit. Consider King David, a chosen one, anointed by God, yet stripped of his throne, fleeing his own son Absalom. Picture him, sandals dusty, heart heavy, ascending the Mount of Olives in exile. As he reached Bahurim, a man named Shimei emerged, not just a random heckler, but a relative of King Saul's house, a man whose family lost the throne to David. Shimei didn't just speak. He cursed David, hurled stones at him and his retinue, calling him a man of blood, a worthless fellow, attributing all his misfortunes to divine retribution for Saul's demise. David's most loyal general, Abishai, boiled with righteous indignation. "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over and take off his head." The temptation to silence the accuser, to defend the king's honor with lethal force, was visceral, absolute. It was the natural human response to public humiliation and blatant disrespect. But David, in his profound brokenness and spiritual depth, did something unexpected. He silenced Abishai, not Shimei. "What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? If he is cursing because the Lord has told him, curse David, then who shall say, why have you done so?" David chose silence, not a silence of weakness, but a silence of deep spiritual discernment. He chose to absorb the blow, to let the stones fall, to hear the curses, understanding that sometimes the accusation itself, even if unjust, serves a higher purpose or reveals a deeper truth about oneself, or simply tests the boundaries of one's trust in God's sovereignty. His silence was an act of profound humility, a refusal to wrestle in the mud with his accuser, a declaration that his vindication would come from a higher court or not at all. It was an embrace of the present suffering, an allowance for God to work through even the most malicious voices. But here's where the chosen one must be acutely aware. While David's chosen silence was a display of immense spiritual power, there exists another kind of silence, a destructive, soul-crushing trap. This is the silence born of fear, of paralysis, of profound uncertainty. It's the silence that allows lies to fester unchallenged, that permits your narrative to be hijacked and distorted beyond recognition, simply because you are too weary, too afraid, or too confused to speak. This trap isn't always inaction in the face of physical threat. It's often the failure to articulate truth, to defend the innocent, to draw clear boundaries, or to declare your purpose when the world is intent on redefining it for you. It's allowing malicious whispers to become thunderous lies in the public consciousness because you retreated into a corner, believing that silence would somehow make it all go away. David's silence was a choice made from strength. The trap silence is often a default born of weakness. You are being watched. They are talking. The challenge for you, chosen one, is to discern. Will you, like Abishai, leap to immediate visceral retaliation, potentially losing control and escalating the chaos? Or will you, like David, choose a powerful, discerning silence that allows the storm to pass over you, trusting in a higher hand? And just as critically, when will you recognize that remaining silent is no longer humility, but a capitulation, a surrender to the enemy's narrative, a failure to wield the voice you've been given to declare truth and defend what is sacred? This razor-thin line between powerful discernment and destructive paralysis is where your true metal is forged. If you found this video helpful, I also have a private sanctuary membership. It is a safe, closed space away from the noise of the world where we protect our energy and heal together. You do not have to walk this shift alone anymore. The link to step inside and find your people is right below.